Hello and welcome to installing Nokina MFD. Right now I'm at the PXE booting prompt here. Just going to select our mainline developer build, which will start us off into the manufacturing environment. As you can see here, there's a lot of messages coming across the screen. This is the stage where we query all the hardware on the machine and make sure it's ready to take the MFD appliance. We actually keep a full log of all these messages. In case there's any issue, we can go back and review all these messages. Okay, so I'm here at the install prompt. This is in fact the same prompt you'll get whether you are installing from a CD, USB thumb drive, or over the network via PXE. So to start things off, I'm going to issue the install MFD command, and along with that I'm going to give it the location of the image. And I'm going to tell it to initialize the cache drives. And if at any time you have a question on what the syntax for this command is, you can just do install MFD ? So right here you're seeing the end user license agreement coming across the screen. Once that finishes, I'm going to go ahead and agree to that. And right here it's actually downloading that image from the network to the machine, extracting it on the RAM drive that it booted up to there, and is going to actually begin writing data to the disk. One of the nice things about installing MFD is it doesn't take very long. Sometimes depending on the size of the disks, the number of the disks, and a few other things, generally you're talking about approximately 15 minutes to install the appliance from start to finish. And of course, once this install finishes, I'm going to go ahead and do some basic configuration just to show you how quickly that can be done as well. So one of the things that MFD is doing during this install is actually looking at the system drive and doing a calculation based on the size of that drive to calculate out actually how big individual partitions it's going to create are going to be. For example, on this 1 terabyte disk, it may decide that it wants to actually carve out a, uh, 20 gig or so for the logs, and leave a big portion of it for actual caching. We actually divide the disk up into something like 14 different partitions. Good thing is you don't have to worry about any of those after you get the full system installed. The other good thing is that it makes it very easy to recover from any kind of error. voila, installation is finished, so we're just going to reboot. We're going to see all these BIOS messages. Right now I'm actually consoled into this server via the 9-pin console connection on the back of the machine. You can see this is a Dell R200 system. No keyboard's plugged in, so we got a keyboard failure. We've got 8 gig of RAM, dual core processor, and I believe the system drive is a 1 terabyte SATA drive along with a 32 gig SSD drive for caching. Just 2 disks in the system. So right there you can see it's booting the default image. Like I said, so we've got 14 partitions. 2 of those partitions are just dedicated to the actual MFD images. So when you're upgrading, downgrading, anything of that nature, you'll actually put the new image into one of the 2 partitions, and when you reboot, it'll boot from that new partition, the new image in that existing partition. If there's any issue with that image, it'll just revert back to the known good image and the first partition. Okay, so the machine is finished booting here, and we're at the unconfigured login prompt. So I'm just going to go ahead here and log in as admin. There's no password by default. I'm just going to go through the initial configuration steps to really get this machine running. So first thing to do is come into the enable mode. Following that, you want to get into configuring the terminal itself. And first thing I like to do is actually configure the host name. So I'm going to give it a host name like, let's say, test MFD. Just so the prompt looks a little bit cleaner there. Really the next thing I want to do is put this thing on the network. So I'm going to give the interface ETH0 an IP address. And as you can see, you've actually got to restart the service here if you're ever changing the IP address on any of the interfaces. So I'm just going to take care of that right away. Let's also go ahead and give this guy a default gateway and a DNS server. And just to save all that configuration, we're just going to do a write memory. And just for good measure, we can also just do some show version just to see that, yes, in fact, this is a recent build. You can get some other good data here. What the build ID is, a lot of good information, memory. And that's about it. There's a whole slew of other good information we can see here, but a lot of that's actually going to depend on what you're going to be configuring the machine to do. So thanks for joining me, and look forward to showing you the next configuration steps. Thanks so much. Bye.